So, spate of school shootings again in America. I'll put up a couple of headlines, or maybe I've done that at the start of the video. Very interesting to look at the BBC one, their line, which is basically there needs to be gun control in America. And I was reminded of what things were like when I was teaching at school. In America, for those that don't know, there's a constitution, and the constitution in America limits the power of politicians. So, in a country like Britain, we have, like, theoretically we have democracy, and if 51% of people vote for something, they can elect politicians who'll do it. So they can inflict tyranny on a minority. That's one of the drawbacks, obviously, of democracy. Now, in America, they have this thing called the Constitution, which limits the power of politicians because it guarantees basic human rights that can't be abolished by politicians. And one of those human rights is in the Second Amendment of the American Constitution, which is the right to bear arms. Now, when I was a teacher, sadly, there's been quite a few of these school shootings over the years. But when I was a teacher, the whole thing has been, the whole debate about it, if you can really call it this, has been no more than, oh, aren't the Americans stupid? They have this outdated right to bear arms. They're just stupid cowboys. This is so ridiculous. It costs Americans loads of lives. It's all the people of the hillbillies in the deep south who want to own rifles and guns. This is a really bad idea. We're so much more civilized in England because we don't have the right to bear arms. So that's about as deep as the debate went. It was just like stupid cowboys, which is probably what I'm going to try to make the title of this video. And what I want to do is just to explain to people why there is this Second Amendment. And it's basically to protect the American people from a democratically elected government, a government that they elected, who subsequently decides to go rogue. So the idea of Americans being able to own weapons is a check and a balance against a government that may want to inflict tyranny on the American people. So the American people could form an armed militia and fight against the state who were trying to inflict tyranny on them in some way. If you think about what happened in Germany during the 1930s, one of the first things that the little tiny German moustache man did was he took away the right of ordinary Germans to own arms, along with getting rid of free speech. Those are the two things that he did. So for me, it's entirely logical why America has the Second Amendment and why it's right to own arms, for ordinary citizens to own arms, because it's exceptionally dangerous to grant politicians a monopoly over the right to bear arms. If politicians and their henchmen, they're the only ones that have got weapons, then they can inflict tyranny, and we must never allow that to happen. And that's why, personally, for me, for Britain urgently needs a constitution. And like some people, I think Richard Vobes has been saying, it wouldn't be a bad thing if Brits could own weapons. I know this will be a highly controversial point of view, but it's all about costs and benefits, isn't it? You might get an odd rogue person who does something that they shouldn't do, but the benefit of it is that it will keep governments honest, and you won't have like really, really bad things going on, like what happened over the last 3 years, or what happened, genocides, basically, what happened in Germany. The other thing that I would say too is, with these shootings in America, who's actually doing those shootings? Is it Hegelian dialectic? Is it the government itself that's hiring mercenaries, psychopaths? Psychopaths do exist, by the way, and they're quite happy to go and kill people in return for money. Sometimes they don't even need money. So, or it could be just sort of patsies, people with mental health problems, a bit of a MK Ultra mind control, and there you've got it. There you can go and get. Or it may well be that it's an entirely fake flag, and maybe not as many people died as what the BBC and the mainstream media say. And it's all about trying to marshal an argument to de-arm the American population. So the government has a monopoly over violence, and then they can inflict tyranny on the American people because they won't have a way of fighting back. And that's basically what's going on here. So God bless.